I've got to have something to show for this time. And literally with a shift of my mindset, I went from being stuck for 10 years with that off and on process to writing my book in 12 days. Let me boost a post.
Oh, no.
I boosted a post.
I'll never forget the first payment that I got that came through. I was like, Kyle, this is $500. I was like, how many days of my life is that normally? You know, I was trying to do like math from the salary. I was like, this is insane. I really believe that winners are okay being beginners. Today we're here with a client of mine who has actually become a good friend. Her name is Jasmine Womack, and you are going to get to hear her story and exactly how she's a rainmaker. And I feel like at the end of this episode, you're going to leave encouraged and inspired, and honestly, probably so certain that you really could advertise your name and make it rain like Jasmine has. So Jasmine is an author. She is a coach. She is a speaker, and what she does is she helps you monetize your expertise. And there's so many ways she goes about that. One of the ways is a book, but there's so many different things you do. Yeah. Jasmine, tell everybody who you are, what your business is, a little bit more, and then we'll dive into our story.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me here. And hey, audience. So my name is Jasmine Womack, and I'm a monetization strategist. And what I do is I work with women in leadership to help them monetize their experience and their expertise through writing a signature book, creating a signature talk, and a signature coaching or consulting program. And so I have a lot of professional credentials, right? The bachelor's, the master's, all the things. And then I saw people online killing it. Well, I was not. And I was like, hold up. I can be doing that, you know? Yeah. And that really was a catalyst for me really taking this online seriously.
And now, like, you bring people together in these rooms. Like, you have taught so many people. You've spoken on all these stages. You've written books. Like, how did you go from where you were to, like, where you are today, just to start your business?
Well, for me, it actually started with my first book. I was a language arts teacher. So I was a language arts teacher for 12 years. I taught grades 6th, 7th, and 8th. Over the course of those 12 years, I was department chair, department co-chair, all the things. And I always enjoyed writing. So where a lot of the other language arts teachers hated teaching writing, it was always my favorite unit to teach. And my students typically thrived. And so it had always been my goal since like college to write a book. And I had friends in college that had written books, but they looked very low budget, low produced. And I was like, I didn't want mine to look like that. So whenever I did it, I wanted it to look like it was Barnes and Noble quality, even though, you know, it was going to be self-published. And so after some twists and turns through life, you know, and I found myself in a situation where I said, you know what? I'm going to finally finish this book. I had been working on it off and on. Yeah. You know, and as a language arts teacher, it's like I'm writing, then I'm editing. I'm writing because every single sentence had to be perfect. But that just wasn't the case. And I actually was at home on bed rest with my son. I said, you know what? I've got time. I've got to have something to show for this time. And literally with a shift of my mindset, I went from being stuck for 10 years with that off and on process to writing my book in 12 days. And it was literally the rest of my life.
I think it's really, I think it's really cool how you can really tell when someone is not only good at what they do, but loves what they do. So going back to like your students, you're like, man, they thrived. I'm like, yeah, because you loved what you were doing. And so the other thing that I'm impressed by is you writing your book in 12 days. All that does is prove to other people that the only thing in their way is just them. It's like, just absolutely. Do it. Like, it doesn't have to take 12 years. Yeah. So like, how did you overcome it, like needing to be perfect and just like getting it out there?
That whole needing to be perfect thing was a real thing because especially coming from academia and also coming from education, you want everything to be right. You want everything to look right. So I found myself editing every sentence and every paragraph literally as I wrote it. And I realized that was the thing that was keeping me from making progress. So when I said, you know what, I'm just going to let the editor edit. I'm just going to write.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow my plan. I'm going to follow I'm going to write. And that's what allowed me to just really relinquishing control, and just really going with the flow is what allowed me to finish in 12 days.
Gosh, Jasmine, so many people, like I know my husband knows this when he listens to every episode and he's like, yeah, like old Ashley, I had to have so much control. So to be able to grow, like you have to let go of something.
You got to.
You can't have like I never made a B on a class, or I might have made a B on a test, but like I never made anything less than like a 99 in a class. And so going your whole life from being like, no, and you knowing that you're constantly all day grading people, like you're looking for imperfections. That's like your kind of goal is to look for the opportunities. And so to be able to be successful, I feel like so many people, that tip right before they can like really get to where they want to go, it's this thing of like, I can't control everything. So let me do my part and let's just delegate.
It's really the surrender of the process. It's the surrender of the process. When I encounter a lot of highly intelligent, highly skilled people, right? And now they're trying to go into entrepreneurship or even just trying to, do something different, than they've previously done. You've got to surrender yourself to the process. That means you've got to let go of what you've been previously doing. Obviously, it hadn't been working, it hadn't been working. And just, well, as they say, let go and let God and see where you end up and like really, just surrender.
Yeah. I was reading my devotion yesterday, the Marshawn devotional for like the fourth time.
It's
like,
so good.
Every time I read it, it hits differently.
It's so good.
Because I'm going through something else. And like every year there's something else that like it just resonates. So anyway, I think part of it is like you have to surrender to, in a minute I'm about to look up the definition of surrender because I bet it's so good. Let's see it and then I'll tell you where I'm going. Definition of surrender. Y'all know I'm big on words. Our words are all we have. It says to cease resistance to the opponent. So surrender, to cease the resistance. That's it. It's like resistance to, or really letting go of all the things that are like coming at you that could be the reason why you can't move forward.
The perfectionism, the limiting beliefs, the things that you think the way that you feel like it has to be, it's got to be like this.
Ooh, yeah.
It's supposed to be like this. Mm-hmm. Everyone else says it's everybody else's experience, let it go.
Yeah. Yep. So I was reading and it's like you can do your part, but then you do have to let God do his.
Absolutely.
And he will.
Yeah.
But not if you don't believe that he can. And that's where like the surrender comes in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you. Okay. So let's get back to this story, this journey. So you were a language arts teacher and then you wrote your book in 12 days and then you decided to start your own business.
Right. Well, I knew that I needed to sell the book.
Yes, true.
I knew nothing
People do
about
need to read
selling.
it.
So I was a language arts teacher. So at that time I was on bed rest. And so there were these, I don't know how I came across them, but it was this David Shans, I think you know him. He was doing this midnight, I forgot what it was called, but it was this midnight gathering of entrepreneurs every single Monday night. And they were bringing on motivational speakers and just talking about business. And I was like, he started promoting it. I was like, let me tap in. I couldn't sleep. My belly was big. My son was breached. At the time, my husband, he was traveling on the railroad. So I was like, I was up at night. I'm like, you know what? Let me just tap in and see what they were talking about. And it just really exposed me to other things and kind of gave me that push to search more into things, keep going. And it was a lot of the mindset things that I didn't know that I needed.
Yeah.
Right. And so after I had my son and now I'm going through the edits, I'm like, I've got to turn this into something.
Yeah.
And for me, teaching, I was teaching throughout the day. So unlike a lot of people that I was connected to where they could, go to speaking engagements during the week or, go to these opportunities or go to these different meetups or co-working, I couldn't. I was still holding down a full-time job teaching. And so I said, you know what? Let me leverage the internet.
Yeah.
I was already sharing online about things that I was doing. So I'm like, let me start promoting my book. And I saw other people promoting their books. And I'm like, okay, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. You know what? I don't know anything about marketing. Let me take a marketing class. So people had some digital. There was a few creators that had digital products about marketing. somebody had a little book about marketing. That's when I started. I was like, let me get this book. Let me take this class. Let me just start doing something,
Yeah.
and that's really how it started. And so I wasn't going to have a book release party. My husband, really pushed me to have it. I was like, listen, I don't have time to plan this. And
he wanted you to have the book party.
Yeah, he planned it with one of my sorors who actually planned the part. They planned my whole book release party.
Wow.
We got photographers, DJs. We ended up having like 200-300 people at the house because we had just bought a new house. No furniture. We said we're going to furnish it from ground up. So we just bought everybody in there, furnished it, and that was really the kickoff because now you've got momentum. What I can look back in retrospect now you've got momentum. A lot of people were pulling out books, but they like, hey, I have a book, but they weren't actually marketing it.
Yeah.
I had marketed mine for weeks and was sharing pictures and was sharing all these things. And when the party happened, now we've got videos, now we've got footage, and now we've got real data and validation.
Yeah.
And so now it's like people are paying attention. And that's actually when I started learning about ads. So, oh gosh. And so I was like, you know what? I think I want to do a challenge. I'd seen people doing these challenges. I said, I think I want to do a challenge. So I put together a 21-day challenge, did it for absolutely free. Didn't know what I was doing. I was like, let me do a Facebook group. I read a book, looked at some videos. Let me boost a post.
Oh, no.
I boosted a post to friends of friends, but I grew my email list, got like 400 people in this challenge, did it for free. And at the end, I was like, that was great. What next?
Good job.
And so a couple of people, actually it was about 30 women, asked me, because I had done that challenge at the end of the year in preparation for this was like at the end of 2017.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, this was at the end of 2016 going into 2017. Gosh, time flies. They said, hey, the year's just starting for me. I need a reset. Can you do that challenge again? Okay, sure. But now, and I had created the challenge as an extension of my book. So it was based on the same principles that I taught in my book.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, sure. But this time I learned that I need to charge. I charged $10. 30 of the same women joined. I made $300. I was like, oh my gosh, I got some money for milk, for diapers.
I know.
To cover after a week, at least a week of after school care.
I'm telling you, I know.
Listen, I was like, and it was from something I already created, and it's an extension of the book. And so I ran that challenge, and then that's when I started a membership. And that's how I started getting recurring revenue. It was like $25 a month per person. It was a couple $100 per month. But I was like, yo, I can do this without leaving my house. I can do this without having to go clock in somewhere else and taking from my job, taking from my home. I can actually bring more money in from my house, from something I created.
I know.
Ding, 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 ding.
I remember that feeling. I'm not kidding. The first time I posted something and someone was like, because mine was, God, I didn't even know what a challenge was. I was just like, I'm going to advertise this course and we're just going to put an ad out there and be like, hey, do you want to learn ads? And then I would voice memo. I'll never forget the first payment that I got that came through. I was like, Kyle, this is $500. I was like, how many days of my life is that normally? I was trying to do like math from the salary. I was like, this is insane. So I remember the feeling. Yeah. It's like.
I was surprised. I was like, hold up.
You're like, is this real?
Y'all paid me $10 for this same workshop that I just did a couple months ago.
I know.
And this is an extension of my book. And so from that, I started, my husband was letting people know about the book. He actually helped me get my first free paid my first speaking engagement was free, but I got footage. He was saying they were taking pictures and people didn't know nobody was in the room. Nobody showed up, but
we did it anyway.
I was still there. I still gave a presentation. And
Jasmine.
now it's like, okay, now you got this book. Now you're doing this workshop. Now you're speaking. And everybody else, like you can like manufacture your celebrity. It's just like, listen, this is what people see.
You were just practicing and you just were proving that. And you didn't have to say if it was practice or reality.
Well, yeah, it was a nonprofit event, and the founder, she was very disappointed nobody showed up.
Wow.
She's like, you don't have to speak if you don't want to. But I was like, no, I'm still going to speak, because for me it was practice. I'm like, let me practice this new talk, because I was doing stuff I had never done before.
Honestly, Jasmine, if you could speak to a stage of nobody, I feel like that's harder than speaking to a stage of 300 people.
Yeah.
So I bet that whether you realize it or not, I bet that you being willing to like still stand up and speak, like subconsciously prove to yourself you don't need anyone in the audience.
You got to speak to the one like it's 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good.
And I learned that at a very, very early stage in business.
Okay, so here's what I want to know. We go from you like showing up no matter what to, I know eventually when we first met, which I feel like was from an ad.
Oh, I saw your ad. I had been like hoping and praying. I'm like, oh gosh. So what happened? By this time, fast forward 8 years, I'd made millions in my business.
Yeah.
And I was really at a threshold because I had been working with an ads agency.
Yes.
And I had this conversation with my husband. And I had been paying them like $2,500 a month, about $35,000 a year. And the first year or two I worked with them, it was cool. They would just run my ads for my challenge. But I could feel like there needs to be some strategy in between. I should be running ads, not just for the challenge. Like, where's the data? What are the numbers? And they were like, well, go get this and go get that. So they wanted me to get all these external tracking systems. And I was like, the platform should be able to give you that data. Like, I didn't know all the ins and outs, but I knew I shouldn't have to go get all this other stuff.
And Jasmine, I have to say this because you're not the only one that thinks this. Someone yesterday was like, hey, before I enroll, I just want to know what other things am I going to have to buy? And I was like, what are you talking about? But literally people are coming to me asking like, what are the other costs? And I'm like, who's telling you there's another cost?
It's a lot of people, especially right now in the lower end digital product industry. A lot of these people that's selling the cheaper ads programs, they're saying, go get High Rocks, go get
Hyros, yes.
Go get this and go get that to track your data. And so the ads agency I was working with, they were like, go get a subscription to all of this. And I was like, I'm not, and I shouldn't have to. No. But the kicker was that I could tell when they started using AI to create a lot of my content, and it wasn't my messaging.
No.
So I ended up having to pretty much edit all of the copy. I ended up having to have my designer to redesign all of the designs. And I'm like, hold up. I'm doing half of the work. I'm still editing the copy. I'm creating the copy. I'm creating the creatives. Can y'all give me some money off of this? Since pretty much all y'all are doing is just running the ads. And they were like, no, but what we can do is keep you on your same payment plan while you continue to do all of that. And that's when I was like, no. Because at that time, I was in school working on my doctorate, running a business. My kids are getting older. They're in sports. I was like, I don't have the time, the energy. And at this point, what's the return on investment?
Yeah.
Because y'all aren't even giving me the data that I need to make decisions from my end. So I was like, you know what, God? I know that I saw an event or something happen in Alpharetta. I had literally been looking for an ad about some kind of marketing event or something in Alpharetta.
That's right. That's the ad, the summit ad.
And I saw your ad and I was like, I don't think this is the one, but let me look into this. And I was like, I went back and forth between the platinum or the VIP platinum. I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and get my platinum ticket before she run out. So, because I don't do I'm the VIPer all the way.
You really are. Like, I just want everybody to know, Jasmine went from never knowing about me, seeing me, and even I only had like, I don't know, 1,000 followers on Instagram. It was
you didn't have a lot.
Yeah,
you didn't have a lot. It was like under 10,000 at that time.
It was, and you still clicked. I just have everybody to know, Jasmine didn't know me. She saw an ad, clicked, and paid like $1,300 or $1,400.
It probably was, I think at that time I paid $1,500. I think it was around $14.97 for the VIP
$14.97. That's ticket. What it was.
And after a few days, I was like, let me just DM her. Like, hold up. You know what? I know how events go. What are you selling? So that way I can start just kind of looking at things, having conversations so I can come prepared. So we had a conversation.
Yeah, you were in the car. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, and then I think it was like maybe even around Christmas. It was around the holidays, New Year's or something.
Yeah.
Because you were talking to me. We were going back and forth. And we got on a call. You told me everything. I was like, I'm in. So I talked to my husband. He was like, go for it. So I canceled the ad because I was like, I need something to let them go.
I know.
I canceled them and went all in, and the rest is history.
I just wanted to take one quick second and remind you that you are invited to the Win with Paid Ads Challenge. So it's 5 days and you learn the 5 most important things for you to be able to actually win with your ads in your business. Day 1, messaging what you say. Day 2, setting where you say it. Day 3, targeting who you're getting your ads in front of. Day 4, testing how you improve your ads. And day 5, scaling and profiting, which is ultimately what you really want, right? So click the link below this video for you to join the Win with Paid Ads Challenge and make sure you get your platinum ticket because I'll be able to look at your business and give you personalized feedback. Click the link below. Let's get back to the video. Okay, we have to tell everybody kind of like this journey. So once Jasmine got in, and Jasmine was like front row at the event. I'm like, I'm so glad I knew her before the event because if I was feeling scared, I just look at Jasmine and she's like, and just like taking some notes. Okay, so it was amazing. So the event went well. And there's always things like I would have changed some stuff, but it's okay. That you got to go do something to be able to know what you want to change. Yeah. Anyway, so Jasmine enrolls before the event and still shows up to the event. So she joins the mastermind before the event. And when you started the program, you had like a lot like changed really quickly.
Oh gosh. So around that time, my husband had started his business.
Yep.
And we had just came off of like a really great Black Friday boom. He had a great start. And then, as we know, like as I've learned as a railroad wife, any wives out there, your husbands are in transportation like mine is. You know, he previously worked at the railroad, but now he, was starting his trucking business. So around the top of the year, things typically start to slow down. So it's like, okay. He was like, listen, I need to get this business off the ground. I'm going to go up north. And it was literally like, okay, well, when are you leaving? I'm leaving in 2 days. So I was like, hold up. I had created my whole plan, but I'm in this doctoral program. Now I got statistics this semester. The kids are doing volleyball, basketball, all the things. And now I'm like, okay, you're about to leave. I cried. Because matter of fact, he told me while I was at your event, it was like right around, it was like the last day. And I was like, it was like that Thursday, he told me that he was leaving on Sunday. It was literally like that quick. He was like, I gotta go, because his cousin was up there.
Yeah.
His cousin was helping him to get everything off of the ground. And so I was like, cool, but now I've got to rework my whole entire plan that I've set out for myself. So where I intended to really dive into the content, that didn't happen because he was gone. And now I am managing the business, which was now kind of on shaky ground.
Yeah.
I wasn't running ads.
Yeah.
I had a new team member come in. The kids were both in volleyball, basketball, tutorial. I was swamped, and now I'm taking statistics and some of my most challenging doctoral classes. So I was exhausted, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna make this work.
Yeah.
And I had an event coming up. So it's literally like 4 or 5 months went by. And I think I sent you a message. I'm like, Ashley, I just want you to know you haven't heard from me, but I'm still in this.
I know.
This is just what's been going on. And so I was like, God, you got to show me. I know that you put me in this position to be able to do this for a reason.
That's right.
I said, show me how I can do this. Mm-hmm. Show me how to get this done and how I can do this with my current capacity and the demands. So I was like, I started waking up at 4 a.m. And that was the only time I could get it done. So I would take an hour every day, an hour to an hour and a half from about 4 to 5 or 4 to 5:30. And I would go through the content. And I would say this, at first I was petrified, y'all. I was scared because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm scared of breaking something. The last time I tried to do my ads myself, it was that was with the iOS updates. Everything broke. I don't know. I didn't know what happened. I was just, it was foreign to me. But that's when I realized this was foreign, and it was something that I could learn. So I had to take a couple of woosahs, pray, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna start by doing what she said and just making myself familiar with the ads platform.
Yeah.
And that's what I did for like the first couple of days, just clicking, what is this? What is that? And once I got familiar with everything, I'm like, okay, Jazz, you can do this.
And you did.
Yeah.
And here's the thing I have to say about Jasmine's approach is I really believe that winners are okay being beginners.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, especially when they've accomplished something, some people are like, no, I'm not going to start over. And it's like, you're not starting over in your career. You're not starting over with your expertise. You're starting over by learning something new. And so many people have this resistance because people, especially entrepreneurs, honestly, every human, we love being good at the thing we're good at.
Yeah.
We do not like doing, and we can sell ourselves on all the reasons why we shouldn't be doing this thing that we don't know that's foreign to us. And we'll tell ourselves a lie that someone else should be doing it.
Right. I think it's familiarity. It's familiarity. Yeah. And then there's the discomfort that comes with not knowing something and admitting to yourself, you know what, I don't know this. You know, it still, for me, it still boils down to control.
Yeah.
Because especially with a lot of entrepreneurs, you have to control things. You've got to keep things in business. You've got to keep things running.
Yeah.
And so when you're learning something new, you can't necessarily control that. You can only control what you can do.
Yeah.
You know, but there's a sense of a lack of control when you are like, I don't know what I'm doing.
You're surrendering. You're saying, I don't know this, and I'm starting over.
And I'm starting over, and I gotta be a beginner at this.
Yeah.
I gotta learn how to ride this bike. I gotta be okay with falling down and scraping my knee a bit, you know, and getting back up until I can ride the bike confidently.
That's right.
You know?
I feel like I want everybody who's listening or watching, like the fact that that's how Jasmine thought before she began the ads is the very reason that we're about to share with you the results that she's had from her ads, is because she was like, I'm willing to start over. I'm willing to be uncomfortable. I'm willing to figure this out. And she could have made every excuse under the sun on, well, my husband's gone. I've got my kids doing this. I've got all these, I've already had a bad experience with ad agencies. Like she could have said to all of us for all the following reasons, like, I'm not doing ads. And
in school, no time.
In school, no time. Like there's so many reasons. And like when people say, I don't have time for this, I'm like, no, you know this. You're choosing not to make time for it.
Exactly.
And you made time for it.
Even if your time is on the weekends and you say, you know what, on Saturday and Sunday mornings, I'm going to wake up a few hours early before the family and put some time into learning this. Even though you might feel like your learning process is going to be, you know, a little bit lengthened or longer, but there's still time you're putting into the learning process.
You're starting to dig you're
making momentum, and any momentum is better than none at all. Mm-hmm. So that's how I think about it.
So because of that, and because that's how you think, that's how you operate, tell everybody kind of what your first result was from your first thing. And let's tell them the specific thing I want to talk about is how you kind of got to like a couple $1,000s and had no results yet. Mm-hmm. That's really good story.
I experienced that recently, but we can talk about that too.
That's perfect. Let's do it. And then let's talk about the numbers that you've achieved.
So I was hosting an event this summer. It was called 7-Figure Bestseller. And I wanted to run ads because I didn't have the capacity to really promote it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to run ads to fill the room. And I was like, okay, I've got to get my behind in gear because I got this event coming up.
Yeah.
So that was really also the push for me. Let me dive into this because I can't just put out this money for this event and nobody's there. So
Lord knows, I've been there.
And so I think the event was in July, Beyonce weekend, whole nother story behind that. But
I remember.
But I started the ads I want to say I started the ads in May, towards maybe the end of May.
Yep, end of May.
And yeah, because I ran them for like 4, maybe 5. I can go back. It cracks me up now. I'm like, I ran ads for 4 weeks and filled a room. But
yep.
I ran ads for 4 weeks. I think that I spent about $2,000, and I was like, Ashley, I'm not seeing any results on these. Like, matter of fact, I'm burnt. I just spent like $2,000, no results. And so I popped up. I came to the call, and you were like, let's go behind the scene. Let's go behind the scenes, share your screen. And so I had set them up, and I set them up as, I didn't set them up as a sales conversion. I set them up as like engagement. It was
something not our method, basically.
It was not And it wasn't anything to the training. It was like a true beginner mistake that I made.
Because, and so people ask me this, Jasmine, they're like, well, how did you make that mistake? I'm like, literally, because there's so much information about doing it the right way. Your brain can't get it all the first round. So you were close.
Right.
And then we looked at the data.
Right. So we looked at the data, and then you said, go back to how you set these up. And you were able to pinpoint, oh, it was the conversion method. I think it was set up for engagement or something.
Yep.
You said, change this to a sales conversion.
Yep.
I literally made that one shift. And you also, because I'm sitting here talking to you also said, hey, create these billboard ads for retargeting. I did everything that you said, and it was boom. Like literally in less than 24 hours, I had my first ticket sale.
Yeah.
And they just kept coming, and they just kept coming.
And you were lit too. You were like, I don't even know this person, but they just paid me this money. And she was like, it's working.
It was working, and they were filling up the room. And what you were telling me was, hey, put more money behind the ads that are, put more money behind the ones that are working. And I was like, hold up, Ashley, I've never spent that amount of money. You was like, listen, if I were you, I would just go all in on it. And it was terrifying. I was like, I'm putting money into the abyss, into the Facebook abyss. But we ended up spending about $15,000 total on ads. That was prospecting and retargeting. We actually made a profit on the ads in terms of the ticket sales. So we ended up doing maybe about $20-something thousand in ticket sales from the ads by themselves.
So we have to hold this. Everybody, I want to make sure you heard this. So she spent $15,000 on ads.
Yep.
And got people into a room. So there was a ticket sale of $20,000. So she was positive, and the whole goal of this is to like lead to a transformation of their lives and themselves through their business, so that she could sell her offers.
Yes. So we ended up doing over $100,000 at that particular event. And most of the room was a cold audience.
They'd never heard or seen Jasmine
They had
before.
never heard of me, never had seen me. They literally came into the event from an ad that they saw. And of course, the energy in the room was a little bit different because they didn't know me.
They had some resistance.
Right.
Yep.
But I mean, those are some of, like, even now, some of them have continued to, go up into some of our other programs. And I would say everyone that joined at that event has finished their book, published their book, all the things. So it was absolutely amazing. And that was the thing that helped me to see, oh my gosh, this is real. This, because a lot of people who do events, they run ads, their ads are not profitable. That's all I kept hearing.
Yeah.
I've run ads to events. Nobody ever buys from the ads. Now I know it's because you don't know what you're doing.
You don't know what you're doing.
You need, Ashley, you need the team. You need, yes, Paid Ads Academy, because my event ads were profitable.
Yeah. Like, that's why I'm like, there's always, every time, no matter what the skill is, there's always someone who's better at the skill. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm perfect, because Lord knows, like, I am imperfect, and we've just been doing it for a long time.
Right.
It's like people that play sports. Like, there is someone who's going to make the high school team. There's someone that's going to make the college team. There's someone who's going to make the NFL, and there's someone who's going to start in the NFL.
Right.
Like, there's just different levels of skill.
Yeah.
So it's like when people are like, I didn't make the NFL, it's like, well, there's some people that did.
Yeah.
Like, it is possible, but not everyone can.
Yeah.
Not everyone has that level of skill. So let's fast forward as we like wrap it up. You went and started with this event, but you wouldn't have gotten to the 100,000 or the 20,000 if you had given up at the 2.
If I had given up at the 2,
could you imagine if you had stopped right there and be like, this isn't working, and got mad and just quit?
Well, that's just not in me. Because I'm like, well, here's the thing. When you make an investment, my thing is I need to make a return on this investment, and there's something I came here to learn. I need to get that.
Yep.
And so my thing is, I'm not just going to walk away because it didn't work out. I can see that it's worked for this person, this person, this person. And I came into your community off of an ad. So I know that it works. and that was my thing. I was like, if she can get me to get a ticket off of an ad, there's something that she's doing right. I said it to myself up front, and so for me, I'm like, I'm not going to quit just because it didn't work out. Like, let me just figure out how to fix this. Let me figure out what I need to, not even what I'm doing wrong. Let me figure out what I need to refine and correct and improve it. And so after the event, I then started applying ads to my challenge launches.
Yep.
This was the first time that I was running ads to my challenges. The previous years I had agencies running ads.
That's right.
And so I think the first time, I might have spent like, I know it was like less than $3,000.
I swear it was like 3,000 or 4,000, and
it wasn't even 4. It was definitely less than $4,000. We did $63,000 in sales.
So she did 3,000 on ads, 63 in sales.
I was like, oh, I'm sold. I was so I could do this like what?
Well,
From
when she
home?
came into Voxer and was like capital letters, I was like, Jasmine is serious.
And so and even just one of the things that I've learned, because my thing is success follows clues. And one of the things that I feel like is a strength, I have no problem learning from people that I feel have accomplished things that I would like to accomplish. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so even just being connected to you has helped me to refine some of my programs.
Yeah.
Or it's helped me to see some of the directions or some ways that I can sharpen things that I've been doing for a long time. And I also think that like for people that have been in business for a while, you have to be willing to change and learn some new things and not lead with the sense of ego. Like, I can't learn anything from you. I absolutely can learn something from you.
Totally.
You know? And so,
Jasmine, I want to say something about that. I prayed for this and I told Kyle the other night, he walks out of the shower and I'm in bed, like on my phone, and I'm like softly crying. Like I was just like wiping up some tears. He's like, what is going on? And I was just looking at my phone, Kyle, and I was like, the people texting me are people that I listen to I looked up to them. I'm like, that she has an 8-figure business. He has an 8-figure business. This is a 7-figure. I was like, I'm literally texting people that I'm like, what is happening? And what I realized in that moment is kind of what you just said. And it's that even these people that actually have been in business longer than I have and have made more total money than I have yet are texting me about ad strategy because they're not even, like, no matter where you're at, like there's someone in my text messages right now that has a $50 million business and she's like eager to learn. She's like, oh, tell me this. I'll go do it right now. And I'm like, that is the exact proof that no matter where you're at in business, if you get to a place where you're like, no, I've already done it for this long, I've already made this much money, and you decide that someone who hasn't is not someone you can learn from, you will never get to where you want to go.
it's ego and it's going to always hold you back.
Always.
And that's why even when I encounter people that's like, oh, I've done that. I'm like, you know what? You really are not. They're not a good fit to work with me because you're not coming in with a spirit of coachability. Like, you're not coachable. Mm-mm. You think you already know what you think you already know what it is, even though what you're doing has not gotten you the results that you want.
Yeah, that's why they say the more people know, the more they realize what they don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what I realized. And so I just have been running ads. And I would even say, like, the first go around, my husband, he was sitting there going through things with me. I'm like, I'm trying to read the data. He was helping me, like really learning how to understand the data that Facebook was giving us so that we could continue to run ads. And so then that was October, September, I went up a little bit more. I think I might have done about $7,000 in ad spend. And now I'm getting more comfortable spending more, just being in the community, hearing about others' experiences. And I think it was, I listened to Lindsay Bowden's podcast because she's a former teacher.
Yeah.
And to hear her say, hey, I spent 6 figures on ads and made $500,000. I'm like, hey, we're good. Let's run it.
Yes.
Let's run it. Because for me, it really just, it stretched my belief. Like, I had never even fathomed putting that much into ads before. But now I'm like, that's something I'm going to do this year.
You are.
So
Jasmine,
I'm just excited. So it's just been on an upward trajectory every single month. We've been able to refine our ads. I've been able to learn more about them. We've been able to, continue to do. In this past launch, we actually ended up at about, $86,000.
Good job.
From a $15,000 ad spend. And
That's
even with my offers, I realized I was selling like 5 offers. I was confusing people. But yeah, so there, even with that, sharpening my sales presentation is going to help everything. I was like, that's why I didn't hit my.
Wow,
that was good. But
Jasmine,
that's why
you
I
didn't
didn't
tell me you had 5 offers out there. They're like,
gosh.
oh my God, A, B, C, D, or E. I don't know.
When I sat down and thought about it, I'm like, people don't buy when they're confused.
That's right.
And one of the things people kept saying, I don't know which one is for me. Let me remove the stuff you don't need then,
That's so good,
just
Jasmine.
Being able to observe and go back and say, hey, these are some of the adjustments I need to make. This is probably how I could have gotten a better result had I sharpened or tightened this.
Yeah.
So it's just been good.
Jasmine, you're absolutely a rainmaker. because of just how, and I wrote this in your little love letter I wrote you for the podcast. I basically was like, your resilience, your persistence, your curiosity, you're just absolutely a rainmaker. So what I want to do is, for all of those that are listening, that are like, well, I could make all these reasons. I don't have a business like Jasmine's. Like, what if someone is sitting here thinking, I wonder if ads could work for me when I don't have your type of business? What would you say to that person who's listening?
Honestly, you can't afford not to do it. And instead of looking at the reasons why not, look at the reasons why, and I had to look at my reasons why, like my children, my younger children are in athletics. My daughter's going to college in a few years, I'm like, I want to be there for all of that. I don't like, and what's the alternative? Mm-hmm. For me to go back into a classroom? I don't want that. I won't be able to have the time, freedom, and flexibility that I want.
Yeah.
And so, my daughter's getting married next weekend. I want to be able to be there for those things. I want to be able, my bonus son, he is, building his life. And when he decides to, get married, and I just want to be able to be there. I like being home with my husband and stuff like that. And for me, it's time, it's family, it's being able to be able to see what the future could be. And it's also being able to show other expert speakers and authors, this is what it means to market your business.
Yeah.
You've got to be visible. You've got to share your message. You've got to put it out there.
Yeah.
Because something, you've got a word, you've got a skill set, you've got something in you that's so powerful that will change the lives of others. And you're not going to change the lives of other people if you're keeping it to yourself.
Yeah.
And so the best way for me to teach that is to model it.
Yeah. And you have. I'm so proud of you, Jasmine. So if someone is thinking, well, I want to learn how to monetize my expertise, how can they find you?
Well, you can find me inside of the Pay Ads Academy, first of all. So I know if you're watching this podcast, it's because you are probably thinking about it or trying to run ads in your business. So definitely make sure you sign up for the next challenge. Okay.
I love that she's doing my outro for me. This is amazing. Keep going, Jasmine. Yes, sign up for the challenge. And
but definitely you can find me on YouTube, Instagram at the Jasmine Womack. And once you touch any of my stuff, you will, we're just going to be in contact.
You're going to get some ads is what she's saying. Like, you won't stop seeing me. And she's exactly right. So we'll link to Jasmine below this episode. I'm so proud of you. You're a rainmaker. And I'm just so grateful we know each other.
Awesome. Me too.
Amazing.
Thank
All right,
you so
y'all.
much,
We'll see you on the next episode.